How about a little what's more likely? We'll do this for a few of the games. What's more likely here? Joe Burrow has 250 or more passing yards, or Lamar Jackson has 200 or more passing yards. Burrow had that 82-yard career-low performance on Sunday. Lamar had 169. Not quite the 6,000-yard pace that he tried to establish back in April. Which guy do you think meets that threshold? 250 for Burrow, 200 for Lamar.
I mean, I could see this being tough for both of these. Like, where like if honestly, I could go, well, I don't know if either one of those will happen. All right, but I think if you're gonna make me bet here, I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson gets 200 plus yards there. I'm gonna play that angle. Cincinnati's run defense pretty good, right? I think they're gonna have to rely on. There's some injuries on that offensive line. I think they're gonna have to rely on Lamar in the passing game a little bit more than they did last week. And then, of course, there's a knowing of this, scheme and what they do in Cincinnati. I'm still a little worried about Cincinnati, Mike, and just that, how is it just going to totally flip around? Again, they looked like a team that hadn't done anything in the preseason. They did. And then they were outplayed and out-hustled and out-physical, too, as far as the Bengals offense versus that Browns defense. So it's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Lamar 200-plus pass yards.
I'm going to go the other way with Burrow. I think there's going to be an urgency. There's going to be an intensity. There's going to be a will.
Right.
And a lot of extra work this week to try to get them to have a Joe Burrow-type game. And 250 is a low bar for a normal Joe Burrow game.
Is.
I mean, 300, 350 is what we're used to. I just think that it sets up. And the Ravens did seem kind of sluggish to me last week. I don't know what it says about the Texans, that they lost by 16 to a Ravens team that just didn't seem to be firing on all cylinders. But those injuries make a difference. I think we're going to see Lamar run more this week, than he did last week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Week 1, Tua Tagovailoa, AFC Offensive Player of the Week, had a huge performance. Here he is from yesterday when asked about those who would still say that Tua can't throw the ball deep.
That anyone is still saying you can't throw deep?
I don't care. I mean, I don't care. 466 that's what 466 is if I can't throw deep. Thanks.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Look,
that's the greatest
Tua.
answer he's ever given in his life. That makes me think the mother effer turned the corner here and got some kahunas, got some guts. That's the answer he should have said, right? I love that. That's the first time I've ever seen him be like that. Hey, I don't care. Eat crap. It was 466. Say what you want. Kiss my ass. It was 466. That's what I love that. That's one of the first times ever I've seen that type of edge. This is maybe we're getting into something with Tua. That's to me what he needs right there. That was one of my favorite answers I've ever seen him give.
We've seen flashes of it a few times. Not that long ago, he went back at Ryan Clark,
That's right.
said some stuff about Tua, and Ryan Clark apologized. Although it was the only apology, I think, in the history of apologies. It also included a threat from Ryan Clark because he said his first reaction was he wanted to fight Tua. Like, you want to shut me up, come shut me up, or words to that effect. But yeah, I like it when Tua gets a little salty. Now, Chris, I will say this.
Yeah.
Okay, two things. First, he was 5 for 8 against the Chargers when throwing the ball 20 or more yards downfield. But I was watching that game last night.
You watched it too. Put it in context because I always get called the hater here when I bring these up.
There were a couple of quackers that he threw.
No doubt. That were wide open.
And he's still got the propensity.
Right.
He's still got the propensity to throw up a duck from time to time.
Yes.
And just because you throw for 466 yards doesn't mean you threw for 466 yards. There's a lot of rack in that 466.
That's right. He played great, and we're not taking that away from him. But they're so good on offense and so creative and so talented, and it's year 2 in the system for him. I'm almost going to be disappointed if he has a week where he doesn't throw for 300 yards. They're that good. I mean, again, it doesn't even matter about the deep ball. Like you said, they throw a screen sometimes, and it goes, whoa, there he goes for 70 yards. I mean, they're unbelievable. They're so fun to watch. Yes, his deep ball is definitely improved. I don't want to take that away from him. Is he perfect yet in that department? No. Like you said, he had, 3 that were like, whoa, he was wide open for like 60 or 70 yards. And, 2 of them probably should have been intercepted that he missed there. But, man, His improvement in that category it's remarkable. And yes, I'm again, I know I get looked at as the hater there, but I like Tua, and I'm rooting for that offense because they're fun to watch, and I like Mike McDaniel a whole lot.
Hey, they put a pin in this whole contract discussion with Tua. If he keeps playing like he did, it may be time to open up the checkbook this season and not wait until after the season. The key, though, is staying healthy. Now, for these purposes, Sunday Night Football at the New England Patriots. Tua, by the way, is 4-0 against the Patriots. What's more likely? Over or under 2.5 completions, 20 or more yards down the field. Again, he had 5 last week, but these are the Patriots. So, over or under 2.5?
I mean, so we're saying like in the air there? Like I said, I'm going with the over.
20,
okay. I'm going with the over. Okay,
20
I
air
wasn't
yards.
sure. Yeah, okay, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I'm still going to go over. They're too hard to defend. They're going to get their shots, and they're going to take their cracks at it. That's what they are. So I'm going over. I mean, you can actually put me down for the over for the whole season on 2.5 over 20-plus yards. They're crazy not to take 10 chances down the field every game because people are you're worried about their reverses, the speed sweeps, the screens, the short passes, all that. They have a great formula in which they make you creep up, spread out horizontally. We got all these things that make us go this way, and then all of a sudden, boom, they hit you vertically. They're scary. They are damn good. They're fun to watch. I'm Tua over here.
Now, look, a lot of it depends upon what Bill Belichick does with Tyreek Hill. And if I recall correctly, back in that 2018 AFC Championship, weren't they making it look like they were playing like cover 2, but one of the safeties was always going over to Tyreek's side? Isn't that what they did?
It was like cover 1.
They can't.
They looked like they were playing cover 1, and Devin McCourty would actually leave his free safety post and go double Tyreek Hill to where there was no safety in the middle of the field. Right? So it was very interesting.
Okay, wow.
Right. Yeah.
So, look, they're going to have something other than the Brandon Staley, let's single cover Tyreek Hill, because that is never going to work. The question becomes, whatever Bill Belichick does to neutralize Tyreek Hill, and we know that's what he always does. That's the game plan. You take away what the other team does best. What do they do best? They get the ball to Tyreek Hill. How do you cover Jalen Waddle?
Exactly.
That's the problem. What are you going to do about the running game?
Exactly.
So this is a pick-your-poison offense. They got too many weapons. They got too many great players, and I think that's... Hey, Brandon Staley picked his poison. Let's take our chances with Tyreek Hill and try to outscore them. This week, I don't think that's what Bill Belichick's going to do, but it is going to open up other guys to have potentially big statistical games against the Patriots.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, yes. And like Brandon Staley tried to do a lot of the things he did last year in the Sunday Night Football game that slowed down the Miami Dolphins. But, like, guess what? I mean, Mike McDaniel, he studied this offseason and went, wait, I'm not going to let them do that to me again. So he had some things that screwed them over when they tried that game plan, right? They weren't, the one-on-ones there. They were trying to act like there's a safety there. Don't throw over here. He's not one-on-one. But then they snap the ball and they try to cheat him to help something else. But hopefully Tua doesn't see that and he looks away from Tyreek Hill. But they just had all the answers. That's where they're scary. Like you said, you put all your eggs into let me stop this. They got other things to go, well, they watch out for this guy. He can fly. They got fast receivers across the board. The running backs are fast, like you said. McDaniel was patient in the run game when he needed to be last week. They're going to be a tough offense to defend all year long.
We talked earlier about Baker Mayfield picking up on the Vikings' defensive coaching signals from Minnesota's perspective. Here's Baker talking about what he did, and then we're going to have a what's more likely that relates to the Buccaneers' next game. Have a listen to Baker.
You're always trying to find tendencies of defense, just those in-game adjustments that you're trying to, trying to find those tendencies. And, sometimes it's a little different than others, but that was why, like I said, at post-game, it was a chess match there in the first half. We kind of had some stall-out drives. They did a very, very good job. I mean, I can't credit Brian Flores enough for how they were schemed up against us. So, it took us a little bit to adjust, but, you try and find every advantage possible to win.
How much did that help, do you think?
Quite a bit.
I mean, you keep doing that, you're going to have some folks from the government, pulling you into one of those dark vans, the guys in the suits and trying to get a job.
I know I'm in Tampa, but I'm a Texas Rangers fan, not a Houston Astros fan, so we're not going to condone that.
Yes, I love it. That was awesome. Oh, suck it, Houston Astros, you cheating SOBs.
But look, there's a legitimate way to do it.
Yes.
There's an illegitimate way to do it, and
Right.
there's a perfectly legitimate way to do it. And everything that you can see out in the open is fair game. That's why Sean McVay holds the card over his microphone.
Right.
You know, it's not so he can be more easily heard upstairs. He doesn't want anybody reading his lips.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff that they do. They hold up towels. They do all sorts of things to keep their signals secret and keep them safe. You're allowed to do certain things, and certain things you aren't allowed to do. All the way back to Spygate from 16 years ago.
Yeah.
It was perfectly permissible to just sit down and take notes. You just couldn't videotape what those defensive coaching signals were.
Right.
So
Right.
Baker figured it out. The Bears' defense is now on notice. The Bears got bigger issues than Baker Mayfield cracking their code. But what's more likely for this game? Bears at Bucks. Justin Fields has over 250 passing yards, or Baker Mayfield has over 250.
Yeah. I'm going Baker Mayfield here. I'm a little concerned about the Bears. You know, I am. I mean, that wasn't a good look last week. They were outplayed in a big way. I mean, Fields, like, yeah, he had some plays where he was under duress. He had other plays where there was plenty of time, right? Just not a great natural feel of how things are going to develop down the field. And it still feels like, and I said this on my podcast yesterday, and I got a whole page of notes on it. It still feels like they're managing Justin Fields. Like let's run this play because we don't think he'll screw it up. It's very simple. So that's where it's discouraging. And like I said, as a quarterback, you get used to, you know, hey, we got this play called. Ooh, they're playing that coverage. Man, we saw that a lot in training camp. This guy's usually open against this coverage, right? Okay, wait, I got to the top of my drop. You know, let me pat the ball one extra time because that guy's been open like 95% of the time on this. Let me see it. I'm going to throw it to him. Boom. And there's just not a feel for that at times, let alone, like we talked, the throwing itself. It needs more. And then as soon as there's any pressure or anything that flashes, it's just look down and run. I worry about the Bears from that aspect. I do. And I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield on this one.
So what's more likely?
Yeah,
Baker
Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield.
I'm going to go with Justin Fields just because Fields was closer last week at 216 to Mayfield's 173, and the Buccaneers defense allowed 344 to Kirk Cousins. I don't like it to Kirk Cousins. At least he worked on Tuesday this week. I've been waiting to get that one in.
Oh, boom.
Oh,
you got him.
So he had to work on Tuesday.
Oh, you roasted him, Florio. You
Tuesday.
roasted Kirk Cousins.
Sorry you had to work on Tuesday when the rest of us weren't working. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.